Take 4. Hi all, how are you? How are you? Start again. Hi all, how you doing? Today we're going to tie a very quick and simple perch fly. I've been playing around this pattern for quite a while using different materials, and the materials I'm going to use in this I think are my favourite so far, but there's nothing stopping you experimenting it or trying other materials to see how you go. We're going to be using dubbing loops. I'm a big fan of dubbing loops to make things very easy and create that nice teardrop profile on any baitfish pattern. These I'm tying for perch, but you don't have to tie them for perch. You can tie them on saltwater hooks for bass or whatever. So see how you go. Let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you later. Cheers, bye. Okay, in the vise we've got a NS172 curved Gammarus, size 6. And for this fly we need to use GSP. In this case I'm using GSP 100 denier. So let's tie that in. Take off the excess. Now you can glue it down if you want to. I'm not too concerned with these flies. They're quite small and lightweight and fairly robust. We need to tie a tail into this. So we're going to use Hedron MicroLon in a grey. Now we don't need much, probably, I don't know, probably about 10 strands just to create a small tail. So we're going to take the full amount and we're going to fold it over and cut it in half. And we're going to blend some Hedron Polar Flashabou in silver into that. Again, we don't need too much flash in this, probably about 5 strands. And we're going to use the full length. Again, we're going to fold it over. And then we're going to lay that on top of the MicroLon. And rather than trimming afterwards, although we probably will do a little bit of trimming, we can taper both before we tie it in, just to make sure there's no straight edges there. And we're going to tie this in 60-40, so this fly doesn't need to be too long, so 60-40 is about right. Just tie that down, a couple of loose wraps, then pull down tight. Come forward a little bit, and then gently spread the rest of the materials around the hook shank and tie those down. So for the next step we're going to create a dubbing loop. And bring your thread up near to the eye. And with all dubbing loops you need to add some wax, otherwise your materials will slip. Now take the full length of MicroLon, and what we need to do, we need to cut this into 3 pieces. They're all going to be slightly different lengths. So the first piece is going to be approximately 3 inches. Like that. And the second length is going to be slightly shorter. Got all blunt scissors at the moment, which is not helping. And the last length is going to be slightly shorter again. So we're going to take a little bit off the end, maybe 5mm, and lay that flat. There we go. So we've got 3 pieces, all slightly different sizes. Next we're going to take some Hedron Polar Flash, and we probably need about, I don't know, 8 strands of this. Take the full length again, and we can do exactly the same thing. We're going to cut it to the same lengths as the MicroLon, like that, and lay them on top. Now we're going to push these fibres together, and we don't want any straight edges, so we need to taper them. And the easiest thing to do, rather than lift them up, is to taper them while they're on the paper, and just pull each side just so those materials separate and the flash blends into the MicroLon. Don't worry if you lose a few, that's fine. Like that. Now add your pre-blended MicroLon and Polar Flash into the dubbing loop. Again, distribute them 60-40. Well, you can see that, and then you achieve a nice taper. And make sure they're evenly spread. There's no clumps of material together, otherwise they don't spin particularly well. And spin. Now MicroLon and Polar tend to spin quite nice, but you will have to just, after each spin, just pull out any tangled fibers. Doesn't take too long. And then give it one more spin. And again, just go in now with your close scissors, just pull out any knots. Just creates a nicer finish. Now wet your fingers and then pull that material back. And start wrapping it around the shank of the hook. If it falls over that bump, doesn't matter. The bump actually makes the material flay out a little bit more. It just means you need to go tight wraps all the way to the eye, because you've got a little bit of material here to distribute around the shank. If you find you've got too much, tie it off before you've used all the materials up. And keep going round. A little bit left to do. Go as close as the eye as we can. We've got no more materials to add, so we'll close it off there. 3 wraps over the top. Pull all the materials back. Have a few stray ones, we can sort those out afterwards. Then come over the dubbing loop so it's nice and secure. Trim off your tag. And then whip finish. Only one whip finish is plenty on this one. We're going to cover the head and glue anyway. The next thing I do is just bring the scissors through the dubbing loop materials to make sure there's none that are caught. And as you can see, it's starting to take its profile now. And for the next stage, rather than adding more materials on top here to darken the back, I'm just going to put some black Sharpie over it. You can use whatever colour you want. I like the backs of my flies to be quite dark. So just work that Sharpie into the material, like so. And just use your finger just to blend it in. There we go. And then for the underneath, as a lot of my flies, I like to put a little bit of orange in there. So this is neon, so it lights up under UV. Whether that makes a difference or not, I don't know, but I like it. Just colour in, it just creates a nice little hot spot. I mean, the eyes create a hot spot anyway because it's a similar colour. And what you can do now, if you're not happy with the shape of it, I mean, I'm happy with this, so I'm not going to trim it. But if you find you've got too much, got some stray fibres, just take the scissors, trim it away and just maybe form the shape that you want. I'm quite happy with this shape. We didn't use too many materials here. The fly, as you see it here, will swim in the water pretty much how it looks now. So I'm quite happy with this. So the next stage is to put some eyes on this fly. So I'm going to put some flexible glue down on each side. Not too much. Like that. You'll probably notice a lot of my flies I use Deercreek gator eyes or zombie eyes or whatever. So in this case I'm going to use the 6mm volcano eyes. Oh, I just lost one. There we go. We're going to put those on. One side done. And that's the other. So we're not quite finished yet. So once those eyes are dried on and you're happy with their position, I usually coat these with Deercreek Fine Flex UV. You could use liquid fusion if you wanted to, or you could use epoxy resin or any other flexible glue that you like. Obviously different glues add different amounts of weight to the fly. This one's unweighted. I could quite easily add some weight to this fly if I wanted to, or just attach some shot to the leader, just to, if I'm fishing it as a point fly, just to sink the fly quicker. There we go. Super quick and easy. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, and look forward to talking to you again. Thank you. Bye.